Are you in one of those seasons where it seems like you haven't done anything wrong, but all these bad things are happening to you? Some of it from non-believers, some of it from believers, some of it's financial, some of it's physical. And it just seems like one thing after another, after another. You can't seem to get out from under the bad that's happening. I want to encourage you today. God is the God who is big enough to turn all the bad you're experiencing into greater good. Romans chapter 8, verse 28. We all know this verse. It says, "For God works all things together for our good, to those who love Him and those who are called according to His purposes." God is working, is able to take all the bad you experience and turn it into greater good. Good meaning your growth, His glory. He's able to turn it all into greater good if you will keep loving Him and live out your calling in Christ Jesus. Now, I want to talk to you about two guys that experienced this exact thing. One is Joseph. We read about him in Genesis chapter 39 through 50. What a terrible story. He's given this vision of becoming a great leader, and the next thing you know, he's kidnapped by his own brothers. He's sold into slavery and taken to Egypt, another country. He's lied about by his master's wife, who said he tried to rape her. He's thrown in prison. He's forgotten. One bad thing after another, and yet he wasn't doing anything wrong. I love the end of the story. What happens is he interprets Pharaoh's dream, and the next thing you know, Pharaoh has elevated Joseph to become the prime minister of Egypt, the second most powerful man in one of the most powerful kingdoms on the earth. And Pharaoh put him in that position so he could prepare them for a great famine so that many people's lives could be saved. It's a wonderful thing that God did. Now, Joseph understood that. His brothers, who had kidnapped him and sold him into slavery, when they came to Egypt to get food, they were afraid he was going to kill them. And he said, No, don't be afraid. I'm not in the place of God. Genesis 50, verse 20. But as for you, you meant it for evil against me, but God meant it for good, in order to bring it about, as it is this day, to save many people alive. What's the good that came about? Well, Joseph got all that training, working in Potiphar's house, working in the prison, preparing him to lead. He got positioned for good. He met some people who knew Pharaoh in prison, who knew Pharaoh. When they got out, they got him connected with Pharaoh so that he could become the prime minister. As the prime minister, he saved many lives, Egyptian lives from other countries around there that came to Egypt for food. And he preserved the Hebrew nation. It says in chapter 45, verse 5 through 7. The Jewish nation was preserved because he was positioned, he went through all that bad, experienced greater good. Second fellow I want to mention to you is Job. Job went through terrible bad things. He lost his property, his career, his business, his children, his health, his reputation. He lost everything. Yet he stayed faithful to God. Even when he lost it all, it says that he got down on his face and he worshiped God. He proved to Satan that God is worthy to be worshiped, even when he's not blessing us. I wonder, are you living that out in your life right now? Are you living the fact that God is worthy of worship even though you're not getting blessed right now? What's amazing is when he did that, he silenced Satan. You read about Satan in chapter 1 and chapter 2. The rest of the book, for the next 40 chapters, no mention of Satan. His mouth was shut because Job shut his mouth because Job worshiped without blessing. As a result of that, he was humbled. And so God, at the right timing, blessed him, it says, with twice as much as he had before. I want to encourage you today. Stay faithful to God. Keep worshiping Him no matter what, because God can take all that bad you're experiencing and turn it into greater good.